How about now? It says I'm live. Still waiting. Okay. All right, we're good. We're good. What is going on? Let me get to my charts. What's up, team? What's up? Um, okay, so we have a bit of an interesting day. News ridden, right? First there was the manufacturing data that was like the worst in a decade. That brought the market down initially. So and then I think we had some news with banks that I'm going to be honest with you, I don't fully understand, but I'll try to explain it from what I do understand. So apparently, big banks are hoarding cash, right? And in turn, this is hurting the small banks, and this all causes the borrowing costs to go up, and that's going to hurt the economy, right? So I feel like that's playing a big factor in this, as well as the manufacturing data. What I'm kind of getting at is we have a lot of negative news, so it seems, and I think that we see more downside. Technically, looking at this from a technical standpoint, I'm on SPY. I'm on the 1 day chart. Um, this is a bearish engulfing candle. We have been like range trading the past few days and really holding this 50 EMA, which is this green dotted line. We're also holding this support level, and that is no longer valid, right? So we just broke through with a big bearish candle, broke through the 50 EMA, broke through the support line. The next logical support that I see will probably be right here at 290, and then again maybe down here at this somewhere around this 200 EMA, which is this blue line. We'll come back and visit SPY, but I think that we may see another red day tomorrow. With that being said, let's jump into the watch list. Ulta. This name has been it's been on our watch lists. I think since last week we called it out. Yeah, I mean Sunday we were looking for this gap here, and then we were looking up to get into this gap area here. And what I like about this name is that first of all, look at this volume that came in today. Right, we had a big move up, like a $14 move over the trigger level, um, with virtually no resistance. I mean, even going back, like we hit this resistance point here today. Um, so if we get up over this level, the next logical point for me that I see is probably around 278 right here, this 50 EMA. And then above that, we're going to push up and maybe even try to continue to fill this gap. But it stayed green. We had a nice green day despite a red market. So I'm going to jump into the 5-minute chart. Of course, this is on continuation watch, but what we have here is this push up, and then we just started flagging. But we ended the day holding the gains, right, and almost after hours pushing up higher than the high of day. So as of now, these levels are always subject to change, and I do change them every morning. But as of now, the long trigger for me would be right over 267.5, which is the high of day here. The short level for me would be right at 260, just based off of this chart. Yeah, and see if we even go back here to 260, we could see that it was a resistance point there and a bit of a support there. So I think 260 will stay the same, but we'll see. I might have to change that long trigger in the morning. Anyways, Ulta is number one on the watch list for tomorrow. then these are in no particular order. I'm just kind of going through them. Roku is number 2. So always starting my analysis again on the 1-day chart. This name has been holding, surprisingly, it's been holding this like 100 zone, and we're starting to see it curl up, right? So we're looking at the RSI here because we were oversold, and the MACD in conjunction, and everything's starting to curl. We're starting to curl, starting to curl. We're seeing support being built here. And what I like, if you go into the 5-minute, 5-day chart, is we have this nice little uptrend right here forming. So we're kind of like getting into this channel, right? Let me delete this real quick for you. It is choppy, but despite the choppiness, it's still holding, basing and holding 100. It's still slanting up. I would take this long because of this sell-off right here. I think I'd move the level here to 104 to take this long. It just seems like we kind of like pushed up and couldn't hold, and then came back down and consolidated, couldn't hold. Here we had a little bit of resistance. It's more of a zone, right? Because this name is so choppy, you can't give it like exact levels and say, okay, well, this is where we need to take it long at. But I don't see many times where it's popped up over this and held. And it popped up here and came down. It popped up here and came down. So I would say if we pop up above 104, take this name long. The short will be right here at 101. Just makes sense to me that we have put a line here for you so it's easier to see. So we have this support here, resistance here, and a little bit of support there. And we're right in the middle after hours. So depending on where we open, again, these levels are subject to change, but just looking at the chart, that's what makes sense to me for Roku. I think Tesla could be a big watch for tomorrow. And this is actually really interesting. So I want you guys to see that you know that old support becomes new resistance, and old resistance becomes new support. Look at this channel that I drew, and we broke out of this channel. And when we had that sell off, where did we bounce? At the top side of that channel. So that holds true. Your lines don't always have to be they don't have to be horizontal. They can be diagonal. So that's just something interesting to keep in mind. But this right here, there's no pattern here that I really recognize, other than the fact that we had that email leak from Elon about 100K sales or whatever. So it pushed up, but it's been holding. We've been really range trading here past few days, and we had this nice volume come in today, push it up again, despite the red market. We'd been range trading right here. I think that push here today, yeah, that was a $4 move. That was a $4 move right there. So going back to the daily, what I think we can do is if we break above and start pushing up, I think that we have potential to test 250. Above that, we have potential to test this 200 EMA from the bottom side. You can see we've done it here, and then we got rejected. Here we got rejected. So there's potential to come up maybe 252 before we get rejected, if we do get rejected there. So immediately looking at this, a long trigger as of now would be right at 246. Just basing that again off this high of day here and the couple of resistance points that I see there. And why it wouldn't be the high here is because if we push up above 246 and then get rejected by 248.71 or 248.70, that's still plenty enough of room there to take profits on. Now in the morning, if we open up around this level, around 248, then I will change the long number. I'll change it to maybe 250, maybe to this high here. I'm just kind of basing it off of like the most recent most recent highs. I see support right at 242.50. Let me delete this. Right at 242.50. Computer time. There we go. Yeah, so right there at 242.50, it just makes sense. We closed here, resistance, broke down here, resistance, jumped through, support. So again, depending on where we open, that level is subject to change, but that is what I will be looking at for Tesla. Here's an interesting one. Chef Gilbert actually called this out today, just before this breakout. So Shopify. Here we go. That, my friends, is an ascending triangle right here on the daily chart. We had this breakout today, and Chef called it right before that breakout. That was a big move. We had that breakout today, just above 315, tapped to 320, and couldn't hold. We came back down, but we didn't sell off. We didn't sell off down here. So looking at this name, you know Shopify. It has it has no limits to the size of moves that it can make. A $10 move, a $15 move is nothing for this name. I think that 330 is not a yeah, right here at 330. I don't think that's an out of target price range for this name to get to tomorrow. If we pop up with volume and push, I would be looking to probably take this name, especially if we break over 320 and hold. But as of right now, I think 316. Yeah, like 316.5, just to be on the safe side. And I'm basing that level again off of these highs here. We see that we kind of like tapped it there, tapped it there, tapped it there, tapped it there, just to be on this. It could be like, oh well, yeah, if we get over 315 again, we're gonna go. Well, it depends on where we open, right? If we open a lower, it may be 315. Looking at the short, this level has remained consistent for quite a while. 310. I don't know how many times I've mentioned that level. Every time I've named Shopify, 310 is like this magic number for this thing. So, it's zone trading here, but break below, we stay inside this ascending triangle. We break out of this ascending triangle, look for a bigger move, especially if we have volume. And CME, some of you guys took this name today. CME looks like, so we had an ascending triangle here on the daily, and we broke down from this ascending triangle, but we held right at the 50 EMA. Look what happened after hours. We started this sell-off again. I'm going to draw a line here. So going off of this resistance point, this support point, this resistance point, and now we touched it today on that support point. So right there at 208 would be the number to take this thing short. And I'm looking right here at 210 to take this name long. That gives you about a $2 profit margin to the top side. Yeah, I think 210 will be the number to take this name long. We'll see where we open this thing. It just sold off right here after hours. That's like a $4 sell off, $3 sell off. I'm really leaning short biased on CME. Some side charts. So those are the 5 that I really think are going to make the watch list. We'll see where these open up. Some side charts. STZ. It does have earnings coming up on the 3rd, but what I like is that we have this triangle formation, and we broke to the top side. We broke to the top side of this triangle formation. I haven't drawn any levels. I don't like the volume on it too much, but names can push into earnings. So that could be a side chart to watch. Disney is another side chart to watch. It doesn't look good for Disney. I think this could be a short. We're basing right here at support, and we have an inverted hammer here on the daily, which is a bearish candle. We're just on the 200 EMA, again a support zone, and then look what we have right here. That, my friends, is a gap. Just like Ulta, you know, if we enter into this zone, we could see a quick fall. And I know earnings is coming up, and there's supposed to be some news released on streaming, but it's one of those cases where you know, you buy the hype and then sell the news. So we will see. You kind of see like a head and shoulders pattern here too forming. Just have that on watch. I think I have an alert set. Now I don't have an alert set. My alert will be set right here at 129. For those of you who like to trade the smaller cap stocks, here's a good one for you. TD Ameritrade. They mentioned that they will be doing $0 commission, 65-cent contract commissions for options, no base fee. When Charles Schwab announced that they were doing $0 commission, this thing just tanked. So now that they are coming back and countering that with their own plan, I think we could see a nice bounce. We will, yeah, maybe. Honestly, this may run up in the morning. Yeah, probably right here over 37. Nice whole number. Take this thing long over 37, and there's a nice gap to the top side to fill. Of course, I mentioned it earlier. The two more stocks to look at. The banks. So depending on your price range, whatever you like to play, this was not good news for the banks. Yeah, this doesn't look bullish at all. We're coming down for GS. Had a double top pattern here. Negative news, has room to fall more. So keep that on watch. Another one, BAC, again, depending on what you like to play. This is a cheaper one. Look to short the banks tomorrow. Oh, one more side name. CRWD. I think it has, so it had like a nice sell-off, and it's starting to show upward momentum here. Let me jump in on the 5-minute chart for you. This one's pretty easy to determine. Resistance and resistance. So right above today's high, I would go long. 50, just round it up, 50, 60 to be really safe. 50, 59.50 or something. Short it below 56. It actually has quite a bit of volume too, which I do like. I want to take this time now to open up the floor though. If you guys have any questions on any stocks, any charts you want me to review, type it out. Okay, Starbucks Wi-Fi again? No, I'm not. I'm actually wired there. Mark, funny joke though. Been waiting for this Ulta play. Yeah, man, I know. It's been on the radar. S Bucks MDB. Okay, I can't even speak. Starbucks. Oh man, this has been on the watch. This has been on the look, I posted it in mid cap watch list. Yeah, right there. So short below 87.75. This has room to go down, man. This has a lot of room to go down. We had this descending triangle right here. Especially if the market's red, this thing can come down easily 85, and maybe even if it comes down further than that, test this 200 EMA, right? So what goes up must come down. Descending triangle here, broke down, day of consolidation, broke down. May see another day where it breaks down again. I think Starbucks is a short all the way. If you want some levels, just take it right off the bottom here. Short it right below whatever this low is on the day. The Trade Desk. This one's been on my radar. It doesn't right now. It doesn't present any setups that I like, but it is. You see, I drew my line here already. Support, support, support. Where are we at? Support. I'd like to see a couple of days of basing, and then I think we have a lot of ground to make up. See, the RSI is oversold. MACD's coming down. Yeah, it is below the 200 EMA, but like just like if we go long, like if we break above something, we usually come back and test it, right? So like we're breaking below, so we can come back and test it. Especially we're in this like downtrending channel here. So once we have like maybe a day or two of basing, we can come up and test this thing. But I do have an alert set right. I think it's right here at 170. Yeah, 179.40. I would short it below that. If we get any lower than that, you know, this thing can like we can base and then we can just fall and not go up. So have an alert set here at the bottom of the support zone. MDB, similar situation. It has a gap here. That's what I'm looking at. And this is interesting because we've already entered into it, but then we're holding. Yeah, I would set an alert right here at 117, 117.5, just to get it. Like if it starts coming down, you'll get an alert. And then you may not, you know, by that time you may not want to chase it, but you'll have it on your radar at least to short it the next day. I don't find this chart too interesting though. TSN, descending triangle pattern. Let's see if you're right. Let's see. Who posted that? Mark? What time frame are you on, man? Were you talking about? Is that what you're talking about? This breakdown right here? Yeah. You know, this right here reminds me of Starbucks. We had this support right here on this blue dotted, green dotted line, which is the 50 EMA. We had this support zone at this nice whole number 85, and we just tanked. So the next logical support that I see is down here at 80. I would short TSN. Take it below this low. Let me look at the 5-minute chart. Yeah, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see it push up in the morning, and then I'd like to see it get rejected and then come down further like it did today. I would short it. I would be on the short side of this. Dr. Rick, very grateful for this. Man, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everybody in the group. Twitter and ATVI. Twitter, to me, the volume's been dying off. It was hot. It was hot back here. The volume's been like slowly decreasing. I think this name follows SPY because let me look at the intraday volume. Yeah, it's got lower volume. I think this name's just really following SPY. So whatever the general market does, Twitter will do. But I do see a support here at 40. Just be careful though, because it's had a few red days in a row. I'm not saying that it can't break 40 and come lower, but yeah, it may make sense that it like consolidates for a while or moves sideways. Just watch the general market. Whatever the overall market will do, I'm sure Twitter will follow. Lulu? ATVI, yeah. You know, this one, we traded this one when it was on that breakout there and was getting some volume. This was fun. But now it's kind of like gotten forgotten about. And so we broke through this resistance, this 200 EMA. We're coming down. Came down, we rallied, and we're coming down. I think this is another short. I'd like to see it come back down and test this 200 EMA from the top side, maybe base for a little while. It doesn't even have to come all the way down. But before this name gets any of my attention, you can even draw yourself a nice downward channel there. yeah, before this name gets any of my attention, I'd like to see it maybe base for a while or test this as a support, because otherwise it just keeps coming down. Here's an interesting one. Lulu. Huh. Yeah, I like this. I like that form. I like that setup. So what I see is that it's like had a gap up, and we came down, came down, came down, and now we're like getting into this really tight range, and we're finding support right here at this whole number, 190, and now we're pushing back up. It could come down. It could even get tighter, but the overall trend is bullish, and we've used this green line, this 50 EMA, as like a general support zone, and that's exactly where we're at right now. I like this name. So 194 is where I see this channel right here. Breaks to either side of that channel, I'm interested. Yeah, 194. I'd set an alert to break over that. When stocks get compressed like this and they start nearing like a support zone, this is what pattern traders look for. We look for that compression. It's like a pressure being built up. And then that's when you get that pop, right? If it moves, that's when you get that pop up over, and you have those big, um, $5, $6 moves, and in the bigger name stocks, $10, $15 moves. Great find. Who was that? David. That was an awesome find. Yeah, I did SPY already. I'll do SPY. I'll do SPY one more time right at the end. PayPal will be the last one. Let me check main chat. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do PayPal real quick. I've seen some people talk about this. I don't. It just moves too slow for me. Yeah, I think this is a swing trading stock. It doesn't have very big moves. Well, that's enough to make profit on. I think it just moves slow. It's got lower volume intraday. Maybe it's a good swing trading stock. I don't see where it's forming this support. Honestly, if I look at something like this and I can't identify a pattern or any type of support um, or resistance points, I just move on to the next one. What I do see though is just like, actually I can even draw that from here probably, like this overall downtrending pattern with like a support zone right here. I mean, it looks weak. We come down and rallied and we're coming down again. Yeah, I just don't know. Maybe set an alert at 100, and if it breaks below that, but I wouldn't bother too much with PayPal. I think there's better stocks to trade. All right, one more time. We're gonna go over SPY. So from a fundamental news-driven standpoint, two things: the manufacturing data came out, and those numbers were the worst that they've been in decades, which has caused a nice sell-off in the market. Also, the banks are, and I mentioned this earlier, the banks are hoarding cash, and I don't know too much about this repo situation. I need to do some research on it, but from what I understand, that hurts. Like the big banks are hurting the small banks by doing that, and this causes the borrowing cost to be driven up, which in turn hurts the economy, which makes the market, and investors don't like that, so the market's coming down. In addition to this manufacturing data, from a technical standpoint on SPY, without any news being involved, this right here is a bearish engulfing candle, and you can see I have this support line drawn. We had like this support zone here. We were bouncing off of this green dotted line, which is the 50 EMA as a support. We were closing above it, closing above it, closing above it, and then today, bam, bearish engulfing candle, broke below, made a new low, broke below the support. I logically don't see any support until 290, and then below that, right here at this 200 EMA, around 287. I think that the market continues down from here, especially with this negative news. Even just looking at this chart, I'd say short this thing again tomorrow. So we will see. Anything can happen with SPY. Any type of Trump tweet or whatever trade news can come out, and this thing can just rip right back up and make up all that lost ground. But that's what I'll be looking at tomorrow, guys. So one more time, recap: Ulta, Roku, Tesla, Shopify, CME. Side charts will be STZ, AMTD, TD Ameritrade, and Disney, DIS. You can also have banks on watch: Goldman Sachs, GS, Bank, BAC, and CRWD. If this video has helped you guys out, like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. I think it helps me on YouTube with ratings. Not really sure. I'm not trying to be a YouTuber, but it adds to the credibility of these watch list reviews, and it also lets me know that I'm not wasting my time. I hope that you guys are able to get an idea, especially because I get asked that all the time. How do you pick the stocks that you do? How do you choose the levels that you do? I try to be as transparent as I can be in these videos. I realize that not everybody can see patterns in the market, and I can. I'm just fortunate enough. Maybe I've been doing this long enough to recognize patterns. That's the main thing. I'm a technical trader. So, anyways, with that being said, I hope this gives you some insight on how I do these watch lists, how I develop these watch lists, and I hope it helps you out. Thanks, guys.